All right, everyone, good evening. We're going to have a very interesting discussion. I have a guest here, John Medlar from the Truth, Freedom, and Health movement. And we're going to be talking about a very, very important topic, but we're going to also talk about it by sharing two important videos and from personal experiences about Republicans and Democrats suck. And we're going to look at the Massachusetts governor race case study. As some of you may know, a couple of months ago, I was... a lot of people wanted me to run for Massachusetts governor. I was thinking about doing it, but I realized that it was more important to build a bottoms-up movement. You see, as many of you know, when you come to a point in life where you're trying to figure out that you actually want to change the world, the typical idea is, oh, let's file lawsuits or let's do elections, right? One of the things I've always reiterated over and over and over again is even when we filed our lawsuits and even when we ran against Elizabeth Warren and even in the last Republican primary, everything right, John? What's that? Comments. Yeah, okay. We wanted to really emphasize that elections can end up being a really opportunistic model, which means people run for office and they compromise and they give up all their values. And when you file lawsuits, as we showed in ours, that when you stand by principles, you find out that the lawyers and the judges are actually in cahoots. So we wanted to set that important framework to let people understand that you have to build a movement. So we decided strategically that it was more important to actually build a bottoms-up movement. And that's what we've been doing. And that movement is Truth, Freedom, and Health. And today, what we're going to be discussing as part of our presentation here is the aspect of those of you joining the Republicans and Democrats, why they suck. And we're going to use a Massachusetts governor race case study that's taking place right now. But we're also going to give a review of what occurred to our campaign in 2020. As many of you know, there were serious issues on election fraud that took place that have still yet to be resolved. And it was the Republicans who committed this. It wasn't the Democrats. It was the Republicans in cahoots with the Democrats. Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about. Before we start, I want to play a quick video to sort of set the stage. It's an inspiring video that I hope all of you listen to, and it'll really set the stage of our movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health. And then we'll have John join us shortly. So let me play the video.
We have allowed our country to be taken over from within, and the end goal is you will have a homogenized world where we will become slaves, because there is a condition among the elites that really thinks they're better than you, deep down inside them, that you don't deserve the freedoms you have. They don't. This reality is what people need to wake up to, and we need to all unite working people. There's only one movement that can do that, and that is the movement that we started creating here in Massachusetts, the movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health. Look, I've been a student of politics since I was a 4-year-old kid, studying revolutionary movements, left wing, right wing. There's a physics, there's a nuclear science to destroying the establishment. To build a bridge, you need to understand Newton's equation. You need to understand the laws of gravity. You need to understand Poisson's ratio. There is a way to build a revolution, and that's why I put this together. My goal is to train an army of Truth, Freedom, and Health leaders. We don't need followers like social media. We need leaders, but they need training, because the educational system does not teach them history, nothing. So in 3 hours, that's what I've started doing. That's the solution. We got to train people. First, with understanding what a system is. The second is understanding the interconnection between truth, freedom, and health. Freedom is the ability to move freely, communicate freely, right? Talk freely. Without freedom, you cannot convert ideas, hypothesis into truth, which is science. And without freedom, you can't really get to truth. And without truth, you make up fake problems and fake solutions, which means you destroy our health. And without health, which is the infrastructure of us and our body, you can't fight for freedom. Third concept is it has to be bottoms up, working people, people who work uniting. And what the right wing has done is whenever you say working people unite, that must be communist. Meanwhile, they've let the Democrats run unions, which suppress workers, completely corrupt. But when you look at the arc of American history, it's been when working people came up. We need to go local. Every solution I'm coming up with as a part of this movement, we're giving the science, which is the truth, and then we tell people what they can do on the ground. Like with election fraud, you don't need to wait for some lawyer. Our goal is to train people, Dave, to go local, to go local, to go local, fight locally. Forget lawyers, forget politicians, Forget celebrities. You got to learn politics, and there is a science to it. They lock us down, we should be ready to shut them down. And the fourth part of this principle is a not so obvious establishment. So when you look at a system, there's always something that disturbs you from getting to your goal. Well, the biggest disturbance is a not so obvious establishment, which are those people who claim they're for you, on the left and the right. The Al Sharptons who tell black people I'm for you. The Tucker Carlsons. Do you think any true anti-establishment person will ever be on Fox or CNN? I don't think so. They both mislead working people back into the establishment. Without this solid understanding of political physics and theory, you're screwed. You're going to follow on the left wing, Bernie Sanders. Oh, he said something. Or Robert Kennedy. Scumbags. Or you're going to follow, some right-wing talk show host. They're not going to lead us to liberation. It's us. And that political physics, it's a nuclear science of change. Bottoms up. We have to organize to understand that there is people who talk a good game and then look at what they actually do, left and right. I'm sorry, Sean Hannity may say some good things, but I don't see the urgency in his voice to get something done, and it can only come when you weaponize yourself with the right knowledge. You need to be able to identify a rat. Christ didn't go after the Romans, right? It was the Pharisees and the Sadducees who screwed him up. His own quote-unquote people. And that's where we're at. So these four concepts I've built into a curriculum. People can go to vashiva.com, and it's an educational program. We need to train people in political theory. You need to have physics, and I've created that curriculum. People need to get educated. We need to get educated fast. And within a half an hour, I can teach people. 2 years of MIT control systems, I teach people those concepts. Then I apply it, anyone can understand it. And then you say, oh, I got to build a bottoms-up movement. They have to get politically astute, and then they have to go locally and act, not sit there on social media. They have to act locally, defy locally, do civil obedience locally, but with knowledge on how to build a movement. The Senate campaign's expanded to the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health, and they can find it on V as in Victor, A, Shiva, vashiva.com, so people can sign in. They can get access to a bunch of videos. If they want to take a course and become a Truth, Freedom, and Health leader, I offer a full scholarship there. But we want people to make a commitment that they'll study, that they'll get certified, that they'll go do activities on the ground. So go to VA Shiva, Victory America Shiva, vashiva.com.
All right, everyone. Good afternoon. We have a special guest here, John Medlar from the Truth Freedom Health Movement. And we're going to be talking about today, as I put forward earlier, was we're going to have this discussion about, stating a point that we've talked about before, but really it's important to make sure everyone understands that the Republicans and Democrats suck. They really suck. Okay. And that's being mild. And the Massachusetts governor race is a case study, and I'm going to play a couple of videos for you, but really let all of you know from a systems perspective, when you look at the election systems itself, we want all of you to really recognize that, as a friend of mine said, in Massachusetts, for example, the governor's race, he said it's sort of disgusting, but he said it's choosing between vomit and diarrhea. Okay? That's how bad it is. And in fact, that's how bad it's always been, because both of the establishment parties never want outsiders coming in. And if you try to play their game, you end up eventually getting sucked in as a part of the swamp, and you compromise your values, etc., unless you're building a movement. Okay. And that happens to a lot of people. It happens to people like Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump, all those people we call the not so obvious establishment. But one of the things I want to let you be aware of is that our movement really talks about the interconnection between freedom, truth, and health. Building a movement means you have to fight for freedom. You have to fight for science, truth, and you have to fight for your own health and economic health, infrastructure health. If you're not connecting all these three, you're not really building a movement. And these are sort of the physics of the movement, which I encourage all of you to learn at truthfreedomhealth.com. I also want all of you to come to our open house every Thursdays at 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. It's really for you. Simply RSVP at vashiva.com/orientation, and you can have an opportunity to come to the orientation where you'll really get to meet some incredible people. Again, I'm running the banner on there where you can find it. So please take advantage of that. Now, all of the stuff we do, videos, it's really to help you. You can contribute to the movement, contribute to Truth, Freedom, and Health. And when you do that, we don't just take your money. We don't really want your money unless you're getting something back. So you can join as a warrior. You can contribute 100 or more. You get to be a warrior. You get a bunch of gifts. In fact, you get 15, 16 different gifts. You can support us as a supporter around $25, or you can support us with nothing, but we still give you gifts and we make you a member of the community. So let's talk about the two idiots, the vomit and diarrhea that we're looking at. But one of the women here is this woman who's the Attorney General, and the other is this piggish looking guy, a very dirty fellow who I ran against. He's really part of the Mass GOP infrastructure, Massachusetts GOP. This guy has never really held any job. Okay, he was a failed sign salesman. He claimed that he runs a small business. It's his wife's small business, which does dancing for kids. Unless he's doing something with kids, we don't know what the hell he's doing. And the other fool over here, this woman here, is a Harvard Law School grad, and her claim to fame is that she supports LBGT rights. That's about it, right, John?
Yeah.
That's all these people have. They have something that they're doing. One fool claims that he is a small business person. He isn't. He claimed he was part of the Trump chair. Again, a bogus lie. You can ask Vincent DeVito. Basically, a bunch of liars. But what I want to share with you is when we ran originally, many of you know we ran for office in 2018 against the fake Indian Elizabeth Warren as an independent. Then we said, look, we'll give the Republicans a shot. Then we ran as Republicans. When we ran in our race as Republicans, we had close to 3,000 volunteers. We had 25,000 bumper stickers, 10,000 lawn signs. We were everywhere. We raised $2 million for a primary. The Massachusetts GOP, which leadership is a pig here on the right, okay, an absolute pig. He was so nervous about our winning, he colluded with the Mass GOP, and they found a guy called O'Connor. What?
No one even knows his name.
No one even knows his name.
No one remembers him.
Maybe there was one lawn sign. I'm being very serious. One lawn sign that anyone saw in the 2020 primary. Meanwhile, we had 10,000 times more lawn signs. And the word on the street was that we won by a landslide.
I drive down the street. I still see Dr.SHIVA lawn signs.
We still see bumper stickers. They were everywhere. We had huge. So anyway, everyone probably knows about this. And anyway, on September 1st, 2020, we found out we quote unquote lose. We won in the only county where the paper ballots were used, but in every other county we lose 60-40. That resulted in me doing a historic lawsuit where we uncovered that the ballot images that Massachusetts is supposed to preserve by law was deleted. Now, the Attorney General of Massachusetts is the pig on the left here. I don't think it's right to call them pigs, John. I think this individual, right?
this.
Vomit and diarrhea. You can think about who that is, okay? Probably diarrhea or vomit. And this person, Maura, was the, I don't want to give their names because we don't give them any publicity.
Well,
this what?
I'm thinking about to your earlier comment. She is the chief law enforcement officer in the state, and pigs is often used as a slur for law enforcement.
But we don't want to do that. Yeah, we like cops. Okay, cops try to do their best, at least the good ones. Okay, but this woman, the chief attorney general, was the one who knew that the ballot images were deleted and yet did nothing. She didn't enforce it according to a law passed by Democrats, by the way, 50 years ago, 52 U.S.C. 20701. It encourages audits, but ballot images are not supposed to be deleted for a federal election. Anyway, she was behind making sure the ballot images were deleted, or at least making sure nothing happened after the ballot images were deleted. And all of this is documented in federal court testimony.
And by the way, this was during the primary, so this was before the Trump-Biden shenanigans.
Right. This was way before. Right. This was way before that. Okay.
And you were communicating with the Trump campaign saying like, hey, watch out. There's
right. And they didn't do anything. Right.
They didn't do nothing.
Because there's no money to be made at the time.
Yep.
But this fool over here was the one who's on the Massachusetts State Committee. The guy's running for governor as a quote unquote Republican, quote unquote Democrat here. Right. And this guy, it's clear that he's the one who brought this idiot in to run against me, a fake candidate, a Manchurian candidate. All right. So that's the reality in Massachusetts. You have two morons who are running, Democrat over here, this woman, and Republican over here. Now, what's interesting is I'm going to show you a video right now. When we found out that they stole the election from us, we caught this woman, Healy, okay, the Attorney General, at an event right in front of the State House where you're supposed to be wearing masks. And by the way, she's not wearing the mask. She's a chief law enforcement official. We caught her red-handed. And I went over there with my bus, and I want to play you a quick view of the video that we have here, where I'm coming off the bus and we catch her not only not wearing masks, as she says everyone should be, but more importantly, we ask her about the deletion of these ballot images, and you can see what she says. So I confront her right here. So let me bring this up right here.
Share.
There we go. Share. So let me bring this up right here. So this,
for context for everyone, this was right in the middle of the pandemic, right?
It's right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. So she's the one going around telling everyone in Massachusetts they have to wear masks.
Right. So here I confront right after our election was stolen, and this is when masks are supposed to be worn. We find her outside doing an interview, a promotional thing, promoting herself, and we catch her red-handed as I come off our campaign bus. So let me play this for you.
Thousands of millions who supported this campaign got to get here because.
So let me start from the beginning. Here we go.
This is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. That's
Let me start again. Here we go.
So we're getting off the bus.
Yep.
This is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. That's the Attorney General. Is the Attorney General going to
Not wearing a
expose the
mask.
fact that election fraud took place in Massachusetts? The ballot images, which are supposed to be saved by federal law, have been deleted. Maura, you know about this. For many, many years, election fraud has been taking place in this state because a Republican governor, Charlie Baker, has been in cahoots with the Democrats. And this has been going on far too long. There is no law in Massachusetts. What has been going on in Massachusetts is complete corruption. I ran for United States Senate, and I'm still running for U.S. Senate as a write-in candidate. What happened in Massachusetts on September 1st is what occurs in banana republics. We talk about third world, quote-unquote, third world countries like Venezuela. We talk about Cuba. Massachusetts is Cuba because of the fact that the lawlessness that takes place here. By law, when you vote, there are two kinds of ballots. The hand-drawn ballots, which are counted by a human being, and then the ballots that go through electronic devices. Those electronic devices convert that ballot to an image. That image is the ballot because that's what's used for counting and votes, right? That's by law. Those ballot images have supposed to be saved for 22 months. She knows it. They know it. They know it right up there in the Secretary of State, Galvin, who was actually brought up on charges because he was involved in getting rid or manipulating votes for military voters overseas.
So that's a piece of what we wanted to play. I'm going to fast forward to another piece where we actually catch the Attorney General, and then when she's coming off, then she puts on her mask, and you'll see this, and I question her on this. So let me bring this up, and it's at around time 3 minutes, right?
3:30.
Well, let's go over to 3 minutes, right? So you'll see we continue our expose.
Million ballot images are missing. Over 1 million, at least over 1 million. And we have a bunch of goons who run the state. I'm sorry, I've been here since 1981. I worked my butt off. All of you did for this election. We will not let them get away with this. Charlie Baker, by the way, did this to Mark Fisher. He's done this to many, many candidates. And it's the Republicans who've done this, not the Democrats. The Democrats just get the spoils of the fruits of the labor of the Republican Mass GOP. They work together. Let's get this clear. Charlie Baker and the Mass GOP work together with her. I see you put on your mask, Maura. You didn't have it on before. Quite interesting.
Have a good day.
Well, it's not a good day. It's not a good day. It's a good day for you to talk saying it to have a good day. You're going to investigate, Galvin? Are you going to investigate him, Maura? No, you won't. Because you're full of shit. That's what you are. You're full of shit.
Anyway, so that was us. Our campaign was a very vibrant campaign. We showed very little respect to these corrupt people.
They
Okay,
don't deserve it.
they don't deserve corruption. Now, that is the individual, Maura Healey, who wears a mask one time, another wears a mask, doesn't do anything about defending the actual law. Ballot images, when a ballot goes into an electronic machine, a ballot image is created, and that is what is used to count the votes. By law, a law that the Democrats passed 50 years ago, which is saying everyone should be happy that audits are done. That law clearly states that ballot images have to be preserved for 22 months. Anyway, Massachusetts, in emails that we presented in federal court testimony, had deleted those images. Okay. So anyway, someone says Charlie Baker isn't a Republican. Well, whatever. Okay. Republican Democrats are the same. So you need to get over that nonsense. Okay. They're one. Okay. Now let's go to the other guy, donkey ass. What, I don't know, dirty deal, right? That's the best way you can say him. This pig who's running, and he looks like a pig, who's running as a Republican. Now,
watching him debate Maura Healey, I could just feel my testosterone dropping.
Yes,
this is being drained out of
right.
it.
So now, remember, this guy, Dirty Deal, was asked if the election was stolen. And this guy, Dirty Deal, was one of the people that was involved with the Republican Party, from everything you can see, particularly from the results, in making sure my election was stolen. Okay. Now, he was asked what he thought about the 2020 election. And you got to understand, Trump endorsed this guy. And I told Trump this guy's a scumbag, but Trump endorsed him because, Trump makes money from endorsements. That's how Trump makes money. All right. Trump really has very little principles about this. So
just pay him, what is it, like 20 grand?
What? No, it's been 100 to 20 grand. So here's Jeff Deal now being asked, the fool who's running on the Republican side. This is in Massachusetts right now, whether he believes election fraud took place in the in the general election between Trump versus Biden. Here we go. This is what he says.
He says he won the election. It was stolen. Is he right?
Look, I don't think it was a stolen election. I don't think it was a stolen election.
Several months later,
President Donald J. Trump endorsed for Jeff Deal. Jeff is strong on election integrity.
I don't think it was a stolen election.
what the?
So anyway, the reason I want to share that with you is that here's a guy who doesn't believe there was any issues with the election. The election wasn't stolen. And then Trump also gave him an endorsement and said he's strong on election integrity. Why did Trump give the endorsement? I mean, I met with Trump for 2 hours. And I said, this guy's a fucking scumbag. And Trump basically could not know what to say when I shared with him what took place here in Massachusetts. But the bottom line is that Trump is pay to play. He doesn't even know who the hell he's endorsing. You can just call them up. Trump, you pay him, he'll endorse you. Okay? That's the way it works. Save America is a PAC that makes money from endorsements. Trump said, had I known you were running, But the bottom line is this guy is the worst guy who worked with the Republicans to steal our election. This guy, Dirty Deal, whatever, dumbass. And Trump endorsed him. So this is why I think the title of our talk is so important, is that Republicans and Democrats both suck. All right. Now, our view is you got to build a movement. Okay. And that's what Truth, Freedom, and Health is. Truth, Freedom, and Health is a movement which says all of you out there, need to be engaged. And engagement means we start teaching people you got to think beyond left and right. By the way, in Massachusetts, only 10% are Republicans, 35% are Democrats, nearly 55, 60% of people don't want to join either party. So it's already there. But the problem is both parties make sure, particularly in the primaries, no real candidates come in. Okay. And if you want to come in, you got to pay someone off. So Trump is sort of the quote unquote kingmaker. You pay him and then he allows you to run, right? But even there, you're not seeing any real good candidates, okay? Because they're not about building a movement. It's all controlled top down.
It's the same thing locally too. Like you want to get coverage on the conservative radio stations like WRKO, you got to buy ads on them, or you basically the same thing with the Democrats. They always it's pay to play at every level.
Yeah, so if you're even
it's like Scientology. You want to move up the levels, you got to pay more money.
Right. If you want to get to 7th level clear, you got to pay money, right? That's what it is. So that's what it is. So anyone who has any illusions about this, we want to help you get your head out of what, okay? The reality is in Massachusetts, if you use this as a case study, the attorney general is running for office, screwed our election, which obviously it was a landslide victory. And the other slob who's running worked with the Republicans. In fact, it was a Republican primary. Okay. He was a state committee chair. He knew everything that was going on. Okay. Because both Democrats and Republicans never want real bottoms up people like you and I coming there. The only way out of this, even if you're thinking about running for office, you cannot do it without building a true bottoms-up movement. All right. So John's got his paraphernalia on. So John's been on the ground. John in Massachusetts, he's building an entire team here. And those of you who are interested, go to truthfreedomhealth.com. I'll bring that site up. And at truthfreedomhealth.com, this is why, it's hard to waste all your time, running in a governor's race, which I thought about doing. But we realize that would be strategically a lot of time wasted unless we really spend our time building a movement. And that's what we've been doing. So let me show you what we've been doing. We've been building truly a bottoms-up movement. So let me take you over here. And if I go to truthfreedomhealth.com, which I recommend all of you go to Truth Freedom Health, and what you'll see is our movement, if we decide to run, or again, our movement is going to really drive that electoral process. It's not we put the electoral process first, we put the movement first. And if we happen to win, great. But we're going to deliver the amazing solutions we already have, let's say in Massachusetts or globally. If people want to elect us, great. But that's not the goal. The goal is to build a movement. And how do you build a movement? Well, first of all of you got to get educated or be enslaved. What does it mean to get educated? Well, you got to get street smart. You got to stop thinking beyond left or right, pro and anti. And that is this technology that I've created. It's a technology, it's an education, it's a community. It's called Truth, Freedom, and Health. Now, we have over 360,000 people globally that have joined this movement in 95 countries. And if you want to hear stories of transformation, you can hear incredible stories. In fact, let me play a story of Frank Licata here, okay?
Hi, my name is Frank Licata. I'm an electrician in Andover, Massachusetts. I've been self-employed for somewhere around 30 years or so. Every day I get up and go to work, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the freedom that being a business owner provides for me. I work hard for my customers, and it's a labor of love. And when I have time off, I spend as much time as I can with family, and I also have a few hobbies, such as boating, DJing, and amateur radio. Politically, I've always been independent-minded, leaning towards those who appear to be the outside agents of change versus the establishment characters. I would later learn that there is actually a third character called the not-so-obvious establishment. In 2015, I volunteered for a year and a half for Donald J. Trump for president. At the time, he appeared to be the outside agent of change, just like Obama appeared to be in 2008. And of course, history shows that both were not. In 2017, I met actual outside agent of change, Dr.SHIVA on his first of what will become 2 runs for U.S. Senate in Massachusetts. Both times, both campaigns, his own party sabotaged him. At every turn, both parties colluded together and did everything they could, including cheating. A lot of people talk about voter fraud, but they don't talk so much about election fraud. And in the September 1st Massachusetts primary, there were actually more votes than voters. And they essentially gypped you out of the primary. Dr. Shiva's landmark federal case exposed the whole thing and caught the eye of the president, who couldn't accomplish anything in federal court regarding election fraud, but was happy to fundraise off it to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars. So what have I learned from all this? I learned that all elections are selections. Nobody is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. But the good news is it's not hopeless and we are not helpless. There's much more of us than there is of them. We have power together. It took me 5 years to learn things the hard way. And now we have a tool so that you can learn things the easy way. As a tradesman, I wouldn't be able to do my job without the right tool. This is the right tool. Start at truthfreedomhealth.com.
All right. So anyway, that's Frank's journey. So Frank was a big Trump guy. He was I think a Bernie guy before that, independent. But the bottom line is this. We're in an important inflection point in history, is that we cannot simply be focused on these elections and asking really dumb questions anymore. Because as we've seen in Massachusetts, which is the sewer that feeds a global swamp, both of these parties work together. They do not want outsiders. And then the kind of people that they give you for choices are really, really nasty people. They're really imbeciles. And that's being a qualitative term. They're not even at the level of imbecile. I think, John, if I'm right, idiot is 0 to 50 IQ. Imbecile is 50 to 81. These people aren't even at the imbecile level, okay? And so we're being kind there. And our view in our movement is that all of you deserve better. But in order to get better, you're going to have to raise your standards. You're going to have to decide that you don't want imbeciles. You don't want morons. You don't want idiots. You want to take control of your own future. And that's going to require you, A, to understand the science of systems. Well, that exists at Truth, Freedom, Health. And second is to build a bottoms-up movement. What do you think, John?
I think I wanted to point out that
Speak a little louder, yeah.
What Frank's story is, I've had the pleasure of working with Frank here in Massachusetts. He's a great volunteer, and he was tremendous throughout our campaigns. And when Frank was a Trumper, he's a perfect example of the kind of people that were coming out in 2016 on both with both Trump and Bernie. There was a lot of bottoms-up people that were coming out of the woodwork, inspired by the sort of feeling of change that was going on at the time. And that's one of the reasons why we get so pissed off at Donald Trump, because he got in there and he had the opportunity to surround himself with bottoms-up people like that, like Frank Licata. But instead of that, he
brought in the swamp.
He brought the swamp back in.
Yeah, because when typically when someone gets into these leadership positions, they're coming in on a movement, and they are loyal to that movement. And if you look who Trump brought in, John Bolton, Rex Tillerson, I mean, these are all big pharma, big war people, right? Big military industrial academic complex. So I think the most important thing is for people to just decide, are you going to want to continue to be Stockholm syndrome victims? Okay. So on the Bernie side, people are like that. Oh, Bernie did this. And then Bernie sold people out, right?
Yep.
He went and endorsed Hillary, right? Robert F. Kennedy, another biggest scumbag. Okay. He endorsed Hillary Clinton 3 times as pro Monsanto queen and wants to jab everyone. And everyone thinks he's, fighting for medical freedom. Another bullshitter, right? And if you really look at Trump, what Trump was good at was he was recognizing the white working class. And I think being white, John, you must be pretty upset that you were abused.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that Trump's rhetoric seemed to be going beyond black and white and seemed to be standing up for working people. And then he just, again, like you said, John Bolton, Rex Tillerson, he brought the swamp back in instead of draining it.
Well,
which is why a movement like us, like what we're doing, is so he could have brought you in, for crying out loud.
Well, yeah, Trump had many other people like myself and others, very smart people who were also patriots who wanted to help. And none of them were brought in. Jared Kushner, I mean, come on. Jared Kushner was in there making deals. Him and Ivanka were making deals all day. Jared Kushner left with a $2 billion deal with the Saudis. Okay? That's what Jared Kushner was about. And Trump, at the end of the day, was about making money. The Save America movement. In fact, with all the election systems integrity stuff we did, Trump made about $500 million. And people say, oh, Trump, this whole thing he sacrificed. Bullshit. Trump was not on the Fortune 400 before he ran for office. Now he's back on the Fortune 400 because the Truth Social is worth about $1.8 billion. So
you got to give him this. At least he was an effective, not so obvious establishment. He was a good hustler. The Mass GOP isn't even good at that. They're terrible.
Right. The Massachusetts GOP is going out of business. They're run by a doofus guy who's a true racist, Jim Lyons. He's a complete scumbag. Jim Lyons runs when he sees us, but he's the one who brought this guy, the doofus scumbag. Basically, when my parents were in India, they would say politics is made up of the worst people. Okay. We have Frank. Frank, how you doing? Frank, we're doing a live here on talking about vomit and diarrhea people running in Massachusetts. Frank, okay? So I have Frank Licata here. Frank, I know you came up with that thing. Why don't you tell us why you call these two people vomit and diarrhea running for governor? Go ahead, Frank.
Well, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. There is no choices here. Really, there's nothing. I mean, I'm not that familiar with Maura Healey, other than I don't like her policies for selectively prosecuting whichever side she wants to. But I do know Jeff Deal very well, and I've worked with him since Trump 2016. He came in early in 2016 in the primary. And it should be noted that he was involved in Trump's primary campaign, but he was nowhere to be found in Trump's general election campaign. He was gone, disappeared, mostly because he was a scumbag who infiltrated. He was a Ted Cruz guy who basically infiltrated Donald Trump's campaign to try to...
Yeah, and Frank, he stole Trump's mailing list, right?
He absolutely did. Yes. If anyone in 2016 that signed up to go to a rally, they put their name in to get their free tickets or whatever, they would later be marketed by PACs, super PACs, promoting Jeff Deal for U.S. Senate in 2018. So I think when he went and did that, when he put a disc in a computer and downloaded
yeah, Frank, we don't need to get all the details. Bottom line, he's a scumbag. Okay, he stole Trump's stuff. But the problem is Trump also endorsed him afterwards, knowing that my election was stolen, the mass GOP was behind it. I think the bottom...
I documented everything that he did there, and Trump was well aware, and I got feedback from him. He was well aware of what he did. He simply didn't care. He's just a whore making money, basically. He just paid him, I worked my tail off for a year and a half. I mean, the guy's just a whore.
Yeah, so everyone should hear, Trump is basically a whore. He may be a nice guy, may know how to get people riled up, but fundamentally, as Frank Licata, who put up thousands of signs for Trump, gave him money. So a lot of times, Frank, when we start critiquing Trump, all these people say, oh, Trump is great. None of them worked as hard as Frank Licata. So you don't...
The people that worked in the Northeast know who I am, what I did and stuff. I worked my tail off a year and a half full time, for free, basically. Didn't accept any payment or anything that was offered positions. But no, he doesn't care about the grassroots. He used us all, basically. And then in 2020, the party kicked us all to the curb, took over, and it was downhill from there.
Yeah. So thanks, Frank. So anyway, we have Frank Licata live. He's in that video. But the bottom line is we're all in Massachusetts here. John, you grew up here, right?
Yeah.
You're born here?
Yep.
Yeah, I've been here since 1981. How many years is that? That's close to 41 years now. Is that?
I don't know. I didn't do so well in math.
Yeah, 41 years, right?
Yeah.
So, and Frank, you've lived here since Frank's been here for... Frank's been here all life. So you're talking to people who know the swamp here. But the reason we're using Massachusetts as a case study is that the global swamp, the elites who advise a lot of your leaders wherever you are come out of the global swamp of Harvard and MIT, et cetera. Now, a guy like me was supposed to become part of that swamp, but I couldn't do it because of my loyalty to working people. And that's why we built the movement for truth, freedom, and health. So some people are wondering, John, will we run in 2024?
Well, you do talk. Well, you're an engineer, and you teach the rest of us to think like engineers. So it is an interesting problem. When we run into a problem, we want to think of solutions. So it is an interesting engineering solution, to try to think of how do you overcome these voting machines? How do you overcome the shenanigans that get thrown on your way? And so that's an interesting engineering problem, and we have solutions for that. And if you want to know about those solutions, you should join the movement. But ultimately, the ultimate solution to all of that is you have to build the movement. Nothing else happens without people power on the ground.
Yeah. And so what John's talking about is, so those people want to build a movement. If you're serious about it, go to truthfreedomhealth.com, because what you'll see here is we have hundreds of testimonials from people, and you'll actually see that we've actually have a history of winning. Our approach of building a grassroots movement that is refined by recognizing you don't compromise with the left or right parties is a way. You'll also understand that those in power are constantly trying to make you stupid. Okay, they feed you ignorance so you get desperate or you get divided into left, right, or complacency. This is a pyramid of stupidity. Okay, so you can become a dumbass by becoming a victim to this, or you can become a smartass by following the forces of truth, freedom, and health, and recognizing that in order to become a wise smartass, you have to learn the science of systems. Now, where are you going to learn that? Well, you don't have time to probably go to MIT or take time to get in there. We've organized that in literally this system, truth, freedom, and health. You learn the science of systems, you get books, papers, you get educated, and then you get events and lectures, you get to connect with other people on the ground, but it's a complete 12-point system, and it's all accessible to everyone. So no one's got an excuse saying, oh, I'm a dumbass, I don't know what's going on, because this can make you a smartass. All right? Anything else, John?
Yeah, that's basically, yeah, to the point that you've made many times, though, you have to put the movement first before a campaign.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll compromise. And but a campaign can be a good vehicle for getting people energized, getting people on the ground, and further building the movement. And then you try to implement engineering solutions, overcome the obstacles, and you do try to win, but not for the sake of winning.
Yeah. So here's Maura Healey. So they're probably watching the ads where Maura Healey said, I built the pipeline. I stopped building the pipeline. Okay. Here's a reality. Whoever wrote that, both Democrats and Republicans just 30 days ago met with the Ukrainian neo-Nazi Azov battalion, both of them. And you can see the pictures.
I think they upgraded themselves to regiment now.
Regiment.
Yeah.
But there's the neo-Nazi group in Ukraine, which our government installed in Republican, Democrat, McCain, and Obama put these neo-Nazis in. And just 30 to 40 days ago, September 20th, those neo-Nazi guys were at the Capitol meeting with Adam Schiff, as well as this guy Crenshaw and McCarthy, both sides. So if you look at what's going on, if you want to really talk about gas prices, most of the liquid natural gas that's made in the United States in the last year is being shipped, guess where? To Europe now. So meanwhile, Massachusetts prices are going to go up, and both parties are involved in this. So don't get lost in these things. The Democrats are causing gas problem and the Republicans are not. Bullshit. Come on, don't be such dumbasses. You got to get your head out of your ass, because the reality is both parties profit from war. Both parties profit from the military-industrial complex. And it is that military-industrial complex, which is based out of Massachusetts, all the big military-industrial guys, that want war. Because war, and they'll create war, and that war has created now a supply issue with gas. The working people of Massachusetts are going to suffer, the working people in Ukraine and Russia. And remember, both Democrats and Republicans were behind this, both of them. So you got to recognize that you got to stop the Stockholm syndrome of, what's that?
The guy responded to you, LT. Are you serious? I want to address that.
Are our kids going to be obligated to be vaxxed?
Yeah, Trump did Operation Warp Speed. That was under a Republican administration.
Yeah, so LT, get this straight. I know it's going to be hard because you probably want to not stand up on your own 2 feet. You want to outsource something to Trump, etc. Okay? Here's a bottom line, LT, and I hope you come to our open house. Let me recommend again, every Thursdays, I'll put up the banner. So I want to invite you because I don't want to just go off on you, because you seem like a very sincere fellow who's just lost a little bit. But the reality is that Trump is the one who did not fire Fauci. He's the one who did Operation Warp Speed. Okay. Thank you, JC Denton. And Trump did for Big Pharma. Big Pharma was tanking what Obama did for big banks. Big banks were going out of business. Look, I've met with Trump. He was very nice to me. He gave me a lot of nice gifts to our meeting. He said he gave me his hats and signed thing. And when I was leaving, he gave me a beautiful, this wonderful thing. He said he only gives to heads of state. So I like the guy, but that has nothing to do with anything. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. What's that, Frank?
You got to separate personality from actions.
Right. You got to separate. Yeah.
You could say that person is a, celebrity. They're nice. I like them, but that doesn't. It's what they do. What's their track record?
A friend of mine who's a Republican said, he goes, the Republicans, he goes, they keep saying what I like to hear, but they never do anything. Mm-hmm. And he's a Republican. Okay. So that's the issue. LT says, I'm a single mom. Nice to have you. So LT, the bottom line is this. It's really, really important that people like you who are hardworking people, are a single person, do not get trapped by either one of these parties. Because remember, before Trump, there was Obama talking about hope, and before him, there was Bernie Sanders. The establishment always finds someone who sounds like they're against the establishment, okay? Now, the recent person that they're drudging up is Tulsi Gabbard. Mm-hmm. Tulsi Gabbard was part of the Council for Foreign Relations. She endorsed Hillary.
Yep, she endorsed Hillary. She was part of the World Economic Forum, one of Klaus Schwab's young global leaders.
So they're very good at saying, oh, shit, the masses are going to build a bottoms-up movement. They're going to follow truth, freedom, and health. Oh, who do we dig out to avert an independent movement? And that's what you got to understand. if you want to build an independent movement, you got to begin with understanding how to do that. Go take Truth, Freedom, and Health. Contribute. We've made it easy. You don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars. You give $100, $60, you give nothing, whatever you want to give, but become part of the movement. Okay.
Yeah, get on the ground.
Yeah.
Join our teams.
There it is. Tulsi is a new female Trump. Exactly. Look, Tulsi was in the House of Representatives in her own state of Hawaii, where Monsanto has been poisoning. She did nothing. Myself and Pierce Brosnan and the Brosnans did more to help Hawaii than she did. So all these people have had their chance, and now they beat their chest. Oh, I'm against the military-industrial complex. I'm a veteran and all this. Well, what did you do when you were a veteran? Did you organize the soldiers? No, you didn't. You were doing the veteran stuff because you wanted to be a congressman. You're a fucking opportunist, okay? And I've met Tulsi. Again, a nice person. But listen to her talk. It's scripted. She's an actress or trying to be an actress, all right? So it's really, really important. Yeah, Monsanto has destroyed and Syngenta, the island of Kauai. She represents Hawaii, and she has done nothing to really address that in her own place. Yeah, Tulsi is a wolf in sheep's clothing, another actress, another Meghan Markle. Okay, that's what these people are. So, yeah, what is her record? Not so. The reality is the establishment always, you know, like monkeys. They show people like bananas and this, and you go running over there like a monkey. You don't want to be a monkey. You want to stand on your own 2 feet. So the reason we wanted to share Massachusetts is you're looking at veterans here, guys like Frank, guys like me, guys like John. We've been on the ground. We've been fighting these people. We know what they're about. So we don't want you to waste your time. Now, if you want to waste your time and wake up 20 years from now and say, oh, say, shit, I supported this Republican Democrat. Look at my situation. You know, I got no money. You know, my situation's worse. You can go do that. But the real truth is the only way real changes come is when you stop being a sucker and you built a movement bottoms up. We believe you deserve better than, as Frank said, vomit and diarrhea. Okay? Those are the choices they give you. And the only way to get out of that is you need to build a bottoms up movement. Yeah. So LT, great LT. He says, yes, we need to join the movement. Knowledge is power. Excellent. So in closing, I hope all of you guys first contribute to what we're doing. We're doing this, you know, we're creating this environment for all of you. So take advantage of this. Build this bottoms up movement. It's really for you. And I hope you recognize that. And let me go back to our slide here. Oh, let me go back here. And remember, in Massachusetts, we have vomit and diarrhea. That's what we have to choose from. Literally, Frank will tell you. He knows these people, all right? Well, what about, someone says, what about Carrie Lake? There you go. Okay, what about Carrie Lake? Wrong question. The question is, what about you, Liz Bauer? The question is not Carrie Lake. It's what about you? What are you going to do? Okay. I know Carrie, nice person. Okay. But she was pushing election fraud stuff that wasn't actually true. There's real stuff. She was jumping on the bandwagon and they've made a ton of money. All these people will come and go, just like this diarrhea and vomit we're seeing here. The issue is not about Carrie Lake. The issue is not about Obama. The issue is not about Trump. The issue is you. Okay? The issue is you. And that's what this is about. Someone says, can you be president? I would vote for you. Well, Christy, what I want you to do is vote for you first and get educated. I was born in India, so I can't run, right? But if we do decide to run, I think in 2024, the fake Indian's running again, right?
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren's up for
By the way, it was our campaign which forced her to take the DNA test, and Trump tried to take credit for that. We may decide to run against Elizabeth Warren, but we're not going to do that without recognizing that we need to build our movement. Okay? Yeah, that's awesome. Vomit versus diarrhea. And that's from Frank. Thanks, Frank. Frank is pretty straightforward about that, okay? That's what we deal with. Now, the way we approach an election is not about the election. It's about building a movement, okay? So therefore, I ask all of you to go to Truth, Freedom, and Health. Come to our next open house, which occurs every let me go here. It occurs every Thursday. And know that contribute to us. Go up to the site, click on contribute, truthfreedomhealth.com. And what you'll find is when you contribute to us, I don't just like to take people's money. We don't want your money unless we can give something back. So what can we give back? Well, we give you lots of gifts. In fact, we give you for 100 or more, tons of gifts. So you learn, you get books, you join a movement, you join community. We give you 3 different tools that are independent of Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can join as a supporter for, didn't share that. You can join as a supporter, you can join as a warrior, or you can just join as a member, okay? And before I leave, what I want to let everyone know is this stuff, frankly, dealing with these people causes me a lot of headache. Doesn't it for you, John?
Yeah.
It causes a lot of pain, okay? Pain, because it's painful, first of all, for me to tell you the truth, right? Because I got to break a lot of illusions. It's probably painful for you to hear the truth, right? It's painful for you to deal with vomit and diarrhea every day, all right? But we also have a solution for that, okay? Many of you know, I'm still an inventor. We created email, I created Cytosol, but we created a very powerful technology that can mathematically model different biological events in your body. And we're using this systems approach to actually discover what will work for, let's say, pain and inflammation based on looking at all the natural products. We definitely don't want to support big pharma, right? But we can look at all the different natural compounds and find out supplements that actually do work. So I want to share with you one of those supplements that I recently created is MV25. So this product is pretty cool. I'll play you a video to share with you and I'll come right back. But even for all the pain that you have, we've also created a solution.
Millions of people suffer every day from painful discomfort and swelling, but most pain medications come with harsh side effects, and many alternative supplements have little scientific backing. That's why we at Cytosolve created MV25. MV25 was formulated using the Cytosolve Computational Systems Biology Platform, a technology for precision and personalized health invented by Dr. Shiva during his doctoral research at MIT. This formulation is the result of computing trillions of potential combinations of biomolecular interactions derived from thousands of peer-reviewed scientific papers published across 4 decades by 68 research institutions to discover an optimal synergy of compounds that downregulate biomarkers of discomfort and normal swelling.
Hi, I'm Barbara Ann. My hands would cramp up so that I couldn't hold cards or knit or crochet, and they would go like that. And I'd have to use this when I played cards with my grandkids. And I started taking that MV25. After a bit, I was able to hold cards in my hand, very, very little cramping, hardly at all anymore. MV25.
Hi, my name is Sandy. I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I tore my ACL during Taekwondo. I had a lot of pain and limited mobility. I've been taking the MV25 for about 6 months now. After the first week, I noticed a big difference. After the second week, almost literally no pain.
My name is Jeremy, and I suffer from a lower back problem. Hurt my back at work years ago, and I can go to the chiropractor, do all kinds of different things, and nothing seems to help. And I decided to try MV25. I didn't notice a difference immediately, but within a few days, the pain went away, and it stayed away. I've continued to take it, and even when I do things that I shouldn't do, it seems to go away a lot quicker than it ever did before.
MV25 is certified clean, 100% non-GMO, made in America, and GMP certified for good manufacturing practices. MV25 is Cytosolve optimized, which means that this formula has been engineered to maximize benefits while minimizing toxicity based on current research curated by Cytosolve. As the science advances, so will this formulation. This is our promise. Order online at mv25.life. Consult your doctor before taking any supplement or medication and use as directed. MV25.
So someone just asked me up here, says, are you running for governor or senator in Mass? No, we're not running for governor. Now, we may decide to run for senator in 2024, where we may think about that. But here's the deal. Bottom line is people want solutions. We have a solution for raising your consciousness. Go to truthfreedomhealth.com. Because when you go to Truth Freedom and Health, you'll actually realize why we need to build a movement, what the real solution is to all of our woes. So that's the solution, Truth Freedom and Health. If you have pain and inflammation, we have a solution for that. MV25, which comes from cytosol, right? Which is another very powerful technology. Now,
someone says they want to rejoin with Dr. Shiva here. Come to the orientation on Thursdays.
What did they say?
They said, "Hey, John." They want to. They were addressing it to me, but they were saying, "Hey, John, your email. I want to rejoin you with Dr. Shiva. All of you guys."
Yeah. So if you guys want to just go to truthfromhealth.com. You're welcome to email me at vashiva@vashiva.com. And here's the deal. How many people think I should run for senator against the fake Indian Elizabeth Warren again? How many people think that? Let's just take a quick poll. All right? Because we're thinking about it. It's 2024. How many people think we should run for senator against the fake Indian Elizabeth Warren? Okay? Linda Browning says the MV25 is really helping me. Great. So Christy Lynn says yes. Gloria says yes. So these people think we should run for office for senator in 2024. Bridget says yes. Yes, you should. Okay, so we got people saying yes. Now, if we run, we're going to do it as a part of building a movement.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask all of you, okay, in that case, if I do that, if we decide to do that, are all of you willing to do some door knocking if you're in Massachusetts?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's part of a movement. You get to meet people. Are all of you willing to make some phone calls? Because I don't want to do this unless you are involved. I mean, I will be, we'll hit the enemy hard. We've always done that. We destroyed Warren. We're the ones who expose her fake Indianness. But each one of you, we want you to be part of this, okay? Part of this doesn't mean sitting on the sidelines and cheering me on. Part of this means you'd get on the ground with John if we decide to do this. Go door to door. You'd make phone calls. So you can be anywhere in the world. So you can be outside of the U.S., Jesse, and you can make some phone calls. Okay, if you want to do that. Okay. So anyone, wherever you are, can be part of this movement. Okay, that's what you can be. Okay, and yes, the election process is completely corrupt. And if we do it, we're going to figure out a way to do it so we can uncorrupt it. Okay. Yep. That's the only way we do it. Okay.
We think as engineers, we take the problem, we analyze it, we find a solution.
But what I want to do is before we even, the question is, ask not what Dr. Shiva will do for you. Ask what you will do for the movement. Okay.
That's what you'll do for yourself.
Yeah. And what you will do for yourself.
For your own families and communities.
So we have many of the people who helped us in our campaign had an amazing time. You got to meet some amazing people. Gloria's here, Sandy's here, LT's here. All of you guys can meet each other. You can become friends wherever you are. We can have phone people calling in. So wherever you are, you guys can be part of our phone tree. You can be in Timbuktu. You can be in India. You can make inbound phone calls. So if you're willing to do that, I'll seriously consider it. If you're willing to get on the ground, we'll consider it. And if you want to do that, you can email me at vashiva@vashiva.com. Let me put my email because I want to get your email addresses if you're serious, because I'm going to, we'll reach out to you and I'll probably talk to you what you guys think if you're serious. But the fake Indian, Elizabeth Warren, we had a great slogan last time, only the real Indian can defeat the fake Indian, right?
Yep.
We're the ones who sent her the DNA test kit. The idiot didn't know what to do. She sent it back. That became a big viral thing. I offered my building in Cambridge. Eventually, the idiot took the DNA test and they had to sprinkle in Peruvian genes even to get to the level, right? But it was our campaign which exposed her. Then Donald Trump came and tried to take credit, and I had to correct him on that, okay? Yes, only the real Indian can defeat the fake Indian, right? That was our slogan. It was a pretty harsh slogan. Some people said, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. It's racist," but it isn't. All right.
She's the racist.
She's a racist. So, yeah, Frank said it's one of the greatest political slogans of campaign history. Go ahead, Frank.
No, it was, and people still know about it today. So.
Yeah. So anyway, so all of you, I didn't think about even running for 2024, but given the overwhelming thing, we're going to seriously consider it, right, John?
Yeah, and if you want to make that happen, or whatever else we do with the movement, join us on Thursdays for our orientation. Get on, if you're in Massachusetts, join our team. We're going to get on the ground here. If you're not in Massachusetts, we've got teams all over the country, all over the world that are forming, and we're going to be doing stuff we might be doing stuff near you. So
right. So come to the thing on Thursdays. Just go to vashiva.com/orientation. There's no charge. You just go there, RSVP, and join us. But we have a lot of fun. I think someone took it seriously when I said, "Oh, if you have a lot of pain, the woman can't take a joke."
The humor just whoosh.
The woman, yeah. So we have a lot of fun on our campaign. We challenge these people. We win where we go. And the only way they can win is by cheating. Okay.
Yeah, remember, we're not going to have, if we run for office again, we are not going to have any institutional support. The courts are not going to help us. The parties aren't going to help us. The state apparatuses aren't going to help us. It has to be bottoms up. It has to be you and us and your neighbors on the ground. That's
Right.
why we want to get involved. We say like we put like a price on the course because people don't value it otherwise, but we really don't want your money. We want you.
Yeah, we want you. Right. And we want you to want you. We want you to respect you. Okay. So if you want me to run and each one of you is willing to give, 20 minutes a day, right, over the next year and a half or so, get on the ground, make some phone calls, and we have the infrastructure. You can do this for anywhere. Then I will seriously consider running. But this time, think about all the fun we could have defeating the fake Indian. Right, in 2024. Think about the fun we could have. Think about the fun you could have. And more importantly, being part of a global team doing this. Because remember, Massachusetts is a center. It's the epicenter. It's like that point where Luke Skywalker had to hit on the Death Star.
Yeah, the 2 meter, the 2 meter wide exhaust port.
Yeah, it's that point. Massachusetts is the center of that. By us having a bottoms up movement, okay, that wins here, it's like blowing up the entire Death Star. Okay, but
you used to say the sewer and gas feeds the swamp in D.C., and by all means, Massachusetts is a microcosm for the nation. Your election fraud in the 2018 Mass primary, 2020 Mass primary was, a preview to the general election.
right. And the thing is, what Trump did, because all he cares about is fucking making money, he just took election fraud to make it an issue and made $500 million. We actually were on the ground fighting it. Okay,
we actually have the science. We still have the science.
We still have the science. And now what happened is election fraud has become for people selling pillows. That's what it's degenerated into. Okay, selling freaking pillows. Okay, if you want to fight election fraud, buy a pillow. That's what Mike Lindell will tell you. Okay, but the bottom line is there are significant issues. Okay. As Suresh says right here, please have some self-respect. Ask yourself how you can be a force for change in your community. Please don't ask what about Carrie Lake. Please don't waste your precious time asking about others. Right. So ask about yourself.
And don't share dumbass videos.
Yeah, and please don't send dumbass videos. Okay. But this would be epic. Imagine this: me and Warren on a debate stage. Did you block Tragic wants to get in the what is that?
Traffic. He's talking about when you blocked traffic into 2018.
Yes, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is think about the fun we could have in 2024 if all of you got involved. I'll do it only if you guys want to do it. If everyone here you can do 2 activities. Make a phone call. We'll give you a list of people to call, or get on the ground with John. If you guys are willing to do that, then I'll consider. But this is going to be a huge opportunity wherever you are in the world to affect the world, because Massachusetts is the sewer that feeds the global swamp. I'll repeat that again. Massachusetts is a sewer that feeds the global swamp. We vaporize a swamp by building a movement. We win regardless. Okay? Someone says, stop talking about Trump. So this guy's against free speech?
I think, well, in a sense, maybe he's recognizing that Trump is a distraction.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fine.
Maybe he's ahead of the game.
Yeah, Rudy, if that's what you're talking about, great. I support you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we may use the same slogan. Only the real Indian can defeat the fake Indian. People really like that. Do we have any, John? I think we have these great.
We have some of the old signs. Only the real Indian can.
Where are they? Are they in the back? Okay. Anyway,
they're around here, but we put them up on our shop.
Right.
So you could have one of those old vintage, only the real Indian fake Indian signs on our shop.
Anyway, everyone, it's been fun. John and I have enjoyed reconnecting with you guys. But just remember, Republicans and Democrats suck. We've shared with you the vomit diarrhea situation in Massachusetts. 2 slobs running who basically work together to steal our election. And it's time that we build a bottoms-up movement. That's the most important takeaway today. Let's build a bottoms-up movement. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. And by the way, if it's painful for you, remember we have MV25 for you. We really do it. A lot of people like the product, and it's come out of doing some real science. So enjoy yourselves. again, let's build community,
Boost immunity,
build community, have a lot of fun, and be the light. Thank you. Be well.